Hello and welcome to Become a Full Stack Developer. This is a very interesting uh, tutorial. In this series of tutorial, we will try to cover the from the basic level to expert level of how we can use a Docker in ASP.NET application. Or so let's start with the definition. What is the Docker? Docker is a platform designed to help developers build, share, and run the modern application. And I think so. It is a good if we just start with the images first. So let's come to the virtual machine. As I believe everyone has a basic knowledge about, or maybe someone has heard about what actually the virtual machine is. So this is what the virtual machine work like, how the virtual machine work. The infrastructure, then it has the operating system, and then it has the hypervisor. And the top of the hypervisor, actually hypervisor allows us to create a multiple images, actually create a multiple operating system virtual machine on the same computer on the same machine. So it has the copy of the operating system, like the guest operating system, and on the top of the guest operating system it has their own dependencies, and then on the dependency then and then all the application data stuff. And in the case of like a second virtual machine, so it has their own operating system and then all their dependencies and software. And the same like the third virtual machine, if we want to create a third virtual machine on the same computer, so it will have their own operating system and then all the related dependency like the software or whatever installation. So this is because every virtual machine has its own copy of operating system, so that's why it will consume, or it consumed a lot of memory, lot of resources. So this is how the virtual machine work. And in the case of Docker, it has the infrastructure, the operating system same like the virtual machine, and here is the Docker dominant. Docker dominant is just a middleware between the operating system and the your layers of container. It works like a container, consider it a container. So it has the bin and then the application, and then the bin and libraries, and then the application and bin and library in the application. If we go to the previous image, the virtual machine, because it has the full operating system, full copy of operating system, and with the hypervisor is try to engage the all the operating system in to create a different copy of the operating system. So that's why it is taking too much time. It take a lot of resources. But in the case of Docker, it does not have their own operating system, but it has some middleware called the Docker dominant that communicate with between the application and between the operating system. So this is just a overview of graphical representation of a virtual machine and the Docker. So let's come to the definition again. Uh, what is a container? Container does not need a separate operating system, as I shown you, and it is the abstraction of the app layer that groups the code and their related dependency together. More than one container can run on the same machine. Sometimes it share the common resources, and it share the same operating system. And what is the virtual machine? Virtual machine uses a hypervisor, like we see over here, hypervisor, and that allows to run a multiple virtual machine on the same computer. Each virtual machine has its own full copy of operating system. VM is a physical abstraction or a hardware. So this is a just explanation, what is the container, what is the Docker, and what is the virtual machine. So the Docker work is in run isolated environment. The application run in the isolated environment, and it runs on every environment that if we run application in our local system with the Docker, so that application will 100% sure that